It's time for the Metroid Prime 2 Echoes review for the Gamecube. Echoes is the sequel to the original Metroid Prime. The story is about how Samus has crash-landed on the planet Aether, or Ike, how do you pronounce it? No, Ike, there's no great in the name, so how do you pronounce it? Okay, got it. She has crash-landed on the planet Aether in search of the source of a distress signal. After searching through the planet, she comes across a mysterious character who resembles Samus, who travels through a dark portal. Samus goes in after it, only to be ambushed by sinister creatures in a dark world. Before being captured by the beast, she jumps back into the portal to return to the other side. Similar to Metroid Prime, Samus has lost the majority of her suit's abilities via the monster stealing them, and in order to solve this planet's mystery, she has to go through the different regions to regain her lost abilities. As you go through, you'll encounter portals which lead to a different world. Well, actually, it's not a different planet, you're just on Dark Aether. In this world, the air is toxic and will continue to damage Samus as long as she is exposed to it. To help Samus while on Dark Aether, light crystals have been scattered throughout, which form a dome of light for Samus to regain her health in. There are also orbs of light which need to be shot at, which will form a dome of light, but only temporarily. Samus can only withstand the toxic dark air for maybe a minute, depending on how many energy tanks you've acquired, before her life support systems fail, so get to a light source as quick as you can. Fortunately, you will eventually obtain the Dark Suit, which not only looks really cool, but also slows Dark Aether's rate of damage to Samus significantly. I was surprised when I first found out that the developers decided to not make Samus invulnerable to Dark Aether even when she has obtained the Dark Suit, which, in my opinion, makes this game a lot more difficult than it could have been. Now, I love a good challenge, but this game pushed my limits because of the constant search for health. It's not that I didn't like it, it's just that it could become pretty annoying at times. Just like in Metroid Prime, you'll eventually find your familiar missing abilities, but there are also some new ones like the Light and Dark Beam. Each one can do massive damage to certain enemies. Even though these new weapons are very helpful and even necessary to complete the game, I didn't really care for the fact that you could run out of ammo for each one, unlike your standard arm cannon, but I guess this just adds more strategy to the game. You can upgrade the max capacity for each one, and to obtain light ammo, you have to destroy something with the dark beam, and vice versa. And actually, you can never run out of light and dark ammo. If you charge up one of the beams, you'll create a single shot for that particular beam. The graphics, once again, are spectacular, just like they were with the original Metroid Prime. Everything is so detailed that it really makes you appreciate the time and effort spent by the developers on this magnificent work of art. The controls, like in the original Metroid Prime, are virtually perfect, but just like in the original, I didn't like the fact that when you had to aim at something that wasn't directly in your line of sight, you would have to move around a bit to get a lock on. And yes, just like in Prime 1, if you held down the R button, you could move your beam around, but you would become a sitting duck, and for some reason, wouldn't be able to move from that spot. And yes, I do know that Metroid Prime 3 Corruption fixes this little problem, but this is Echoes, and it has that annoying problem. Everything else though, like moving, shooting, switching out suit items, was great. Since this game basically has two worlds to it, get ready to scan. There is a lot to scan in this game. You don't have to scan everything, but some are required to solve puzzles. And actually, the story of this game is read out in scans from computers throughout the game. Also, if you scan enough, you'll be awarded with prizes like works of art. The boss battles were very fun, and I found them to be more challenging than Prime 1 because a lot of them are fought in Dark Aether, where you'll have to find and stay within light sanctuaries if you don't want the toxic air to eat away at your health. Unlike its predecessor, Echoes features a multiplayer battle system. There are different modes to play, like free-for-all or coin battle. Sounds familiar. Anyway, it was pretty fun due to the upgrades of weapons and special suit abilities. I just wish the battle stages were a bit larger, but it was still fun. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes is a fantastic game. The detailed graphics, virtually perfect controls, the overwhelming atmosphere of both worlds, the amazing gameplay, the strategic boss battles, and the length to complete the game are all so awesome. The only downsides were one, again, that little snag in the controls where you basically can't aim and move at the same time was a bit frustrating. And two, even though I do love exploring the regions around me, it still became a bit annoying after hours of playing to have to walk a really long distance to get to one place from the other. But overall, this is definitely a game you need to play. But I'm warning you, I feel that it's quite a bit more difficult than Prime 1, so if you're expecting the same difficulty level from its predecessor, you're probably going to be in for a surprise, good or bad, depending on if you like a challenge. Now, I like Prime 1 more than Echoes, and I was going to give it this one score, but because there is just so much to this game, I've bumped the score up from the original. So therefore, this game gets a 4.5 out of 5 with the title of Epic.